Hello, and welcome back to Sacred Stones 0% Growths. We are very close to the end. This is the second to last chapter, and then next up will be the final chapter. So, with that in mind, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about my plans for my next Fire Emblem Let's Play. So, I've really enjoyed doing the LTC thing here. I mean, the 0% growths, I think is also like a cool part of it. I'd be interested in doing more of both of those things. And with as far as LTC, like more like what I've been doing than like, really making sure that I'm like getting the world record, lowest turn count or whatever. But anyway, the point is, with that in mind, there's really only one option that I have, which is FE7. I could do the Tellius games, but I just played through them recently. I would rather do something else first. The 3DS games, I don't have a capture card. I actually did just order a capture card for the Switch so that I can record Three Houses, but that's a separate thing. So yeah, I don't have a way to record 3DS games. I have not played through Shadow Dragon. I have not played through any of the games that weren't released in the West, like FE6 or the Jug Draw games. So trying to do a challenge run of any of those wouldn't really make much sense. So basically, I'm looking at FE7. I actually also, embarrassingly enough, haven't played Vector Hard Mode in FE7. So basically the options I have for the next thing I do are do some kind of challenge run of Eliwood mode in FE7, just do Hector Hard Mode, like first playthrough of that, or do one of the other games that I've never played before at all. I'm leaning towards doing some kind of challenge run for FE7, like maybe I'll just do like 0% growths, like low turn count thing again. But yeah, I guess if you have any thoughts on that, like if there's something in particular I'd like to see, like if you think it would be cool to see me do a basically blind playthrough of like FE6 or FE4 or I guess FE5, although I'd rather play FE4 first, I think, but or actually I guess Shadow Dragon or New Mystery, like really any of those games, like that's an option. I tend to think that my content is better when I'm not doing blind playthroughs, but maybe somebody disagrees. So yeah, give me your thoughts on that if you have any. And with that said, let's talk about this chapter and the terrible mistake that I made a long time ago in my playthrough without even realizing it. So this is another Seas map that's overall pretty similar in strategy to several of the other recent maps that we've encountered, like the one where you had to defeat Leon or the one where you had to defeat Reeve, in that there's a gate that's not crazy far away. We've got to seize it. We've got to take out a boss to do so. We're going to want to use the warp and or rescue staves to enable that. The differences here are that, number one, there's a lot of really dense, impassable terrain. Well, not flyer impassable, but impassable to everyone else, that we've got to get around. So, like, you can't go around this way. You have to come all the way up over here. And then if you try to come down this way, there's more of these thickets here and then mountains. So the intended path, if you're going to bring your whole party through, is actually that you come all the way up this way, come around here, come down here, and then come around this way, which is really long and not what I'm looking to do. But it does mean that there's even more of an emphasis on the staff movement because of, or at least on flyer rescue dropping. But there's a lot of enemies, so it's a little risky given that most of the flyers aren't that durable or that like excellent combat units. Obviously, we really want basically just like Seth, Garrick, Saleh to be the ones to actually like engage the boss over here, and then we also need to get Eric over here to seize. So, without all that having been said, the other thing that makes this chapter different is the boss himself. The boss has this weapon that doesn't say so, but bypasses defense. And so it normally does 37 damage, which is enough to one-shot Seth and Garrick and Saleh, which are, my primary combat units. Now, I do have some units that can survive that. Two of them specifically, Dusel and Dosla. Dosla, surviving it doesn't really matter. He doesn't have the boss has 27 defense on the gate, so you need to do a lot of damage to even touch him. Now, obviously, with the sacred, legendary weapons that do bonus damage, you can still put a ton of damage on him even in spite of that 27 defense if you're using one of them. But Dosla doesn't have the weapon rank to. At least I'm pretty sure he doesn't. It's where's Dosla? Yeah, he's a pretty long way away from that, so that's not really helping. Now, Dusel does have S-rank lances. I did not specifically try to set him up with S-rank lances. That was just a thing that sort of happened. So that was the first part of my mistake, because if I had given him S-rank axes, he could have used the Garm, and if I had also were to give him the Speedwing that I got last chapter, that would give him 19 speed, which would be enough to double the boss, who has 14 speed, with the Garm axe, because the Garm gives +5 speed, if I didn't already say that. Anyway, the point is, he doesn't have S-rank axes, so he'd have to use the Vidofnir, which gives him defense and not speed, which means that I would need him to go in and hit twice, and really for him to be able to survive, he would need to do that on player phase, which would require that we get Tethys across as well to dance for him, because there's just way too many enemies around here that could just walk up and kill him if you were to try to do it on enemy phase. Because the boss is gonna almost one-shot him, not going to one-shot him, and leave him with 4 health, right? So he's not gonna survive in enemy phase with that. So, yeah, the upshot of that is that, well, I should say that when I was trying to figure out this chapter, I did not know that the weapon had that property, because if you look at the description, it doesn't actually say anything about it. It doesn't say that it bypasses defense the way that Luna says that it bypasses resistance. So I didn't know that, so I was trying to go in with Garrick, and I was trying to figure out, why is Garrick not able to take a hit from this guy? I thought at first it was hitting his resistance, and I was giving him extra resistance with the barrier and stuff like that, and then finally I realized okay, this isn't making a difference, what's going on, and I looked into that. So I mentioned that my first mistake was not training Dusel to use axes. My second mistake, and really the mistakes it's an either or thing, either one of these things would have solved the problem, but the second mistake was not giving Garrick an angelic robe earlier in the game, because if I did, then Garrick would have enough HP to take a hit, and he does double the boss as it stands. He can use the Garm, and he can one-round him if he can take a hit. Now, once I learned this, I have to say I was pretty sad about the whole situation. In fact, before I realized that Dusel actually had enough HP to take a hit, I thought it might just be a run-ending mistake. Fortunately, that isn't the case. However, it would take significantly more turns to do this with Dusel, and or would take me significantly more uses of the warp staff, because as I mentioned, I would need to get Tethys across. I'm already using the warp staff pretty heavily in this chapter. So what I actually decided to do, what I first decided to do was to see if I could, for just one time, break my rule about RNG abuse. and just figure out, like, okay, get Garrick up there, and then the boss has like a 98% hit rate against him. So I was gonna be like, okay, well, he could miss. Let's RNG abuse our way to victory here. And then, I looked into that, and it looked like, like the fact that, is 98% is a knock against that, and the fact that I'm actually not using VBA, I'm using a different emulator, makes it more problematic, because you have to use specifically VBA to even do RNG abuse stuff. So I was like, okay, what if I moved my Seraph, or my Angelic Robe HP from Tana over to Garrick? Like, if I had given that to Garrick back at that point, and that would have been fine. Turns out that I at least don't know how to do that. But I did figure out how to do something else, which was lower the boss's attack by 2. So now Garrick can survive with 1 hit point. I realized that this is, like, I don't know, cheap, lame, like all sorts of other things. But, it's one of those things where, like, these are the consequences of not, like, having done this before, not having planned ahead. But I basically want to just say, like, okay, well, what if you gave Garrick that angelic, or that, angelic robe? I mean, it wouldn't really matter in any of the previous chapters that I can recall. Like, there was a point where I gave Tana one, and it helped her not get shot by arrows, but I think that was the first one, not the second one. And in any case, like, it's such a like little thing that it seems to me that, like, having to spend like extra resources or whatever to use Diesel to kill the boss here just, like, isn't, like, worth the amount of mental energy that I would have to expend to, like, find an entirely different solution to the chapter that involved being able to do that, versus the one that I've already found that can do that, provided that Garrick doesn't get one shot by the boss. So, I mean, if this, if you're watching this and you're disappointed and you think, like, oh, this is, lame, why are you doing this? I completely understand, but, yeah, I don't know. I just got really irritated when I learned that, that the boss was set up this way, and that I didn't know about it, and that I'd shot myself in the foot, not, like, preparing for it. So this is my way around that. If I ever do another run of this again, I will know better, and I will plan for it. Although there's lots of other things that, I could have also improved on. But I feel like, this is the only one. Part of the reason this bothered me so much is this is the only one that's not sort of, like, cumulative over time. Like, I spent a lot of time, like, not training Joshua's sword rank, or, not training maybe Saleh's staff rank as much as I should have, or whatever. And, in this case, it's like one stat booster, one time, that didn't even seem like it really mattered that much. I gave it to Tana because I didn't really know what to do with it. And that, like, totally screws up my plan for this chapter. Like, that sucks way too much. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably just rationalizing, but there you have it. Anyway, so with all that having been said, I guess let's get started. So the plan is actually pretty cool, in my opinion. I'm putting aside the part where I had to edit the boss's damage value to get it to work. So we start off with Saleh coming up here, rescuing Garrick forward. And the reason for that is because Mulder doesn't have the staff rank to get anybody across these mountains unless they're right up against the mountains, and we can't start with anybody right up against the mountains. And we want to have Mulder actually warp twice this turn, which means that we don't necessarily want to dance for Garrick after he moves over there. Plus, this is also going to help Saleh get to A and be able to use the warp staff himself this chapter. Anyway, so we can warp Garrick across now. and he can come over here and kill this Gorgon. The Gorgon has stone, but more importantly, just deals a lot of damage, and it's really hard to get, to start moving the more fragile party members across without exposing them to getting one shot by that Gorgon. So I think it's better to just take it out. And then we're going to dance. Let's do it here. But dance for Molder. And now we're going to warp Seth up. So he happens to be, well, I mean, I put him there, but it happens to be the case that we can get him just across these thickets into this woods, which is pretty cool. And then that puts him far forward enough that he can come kill this archer. And that means that we can send some of the flyers across, and they're not going to be as threatened as they would otherwise. Meanwhile, we want to get Dusel up here, and I actually brought a couple of rescue bots that can rescue him, including Vanessa, Franz, and Ephraim. So Dusel's going to come up like so. Franz is going to rescue him. And Ephraim is going to drop him there. Alright. So now we want to basically set up... We want to get Saleh and Tethys across the mountain, but not put Tethys in range of this guy, and not put any of the other flyers in range of that guy, except for Cyrene, who has the Philly shield. So first we're going to have Vanessa is going to be the one who rescues Tethys. And then we want to drop, so that the archer can shoot down to this spot. So we want to drop Tethys there. So we're going to park here with Vanessa, and then Tethys can be dropped here from here. And then Cyrene is going to end up here with a javelin so that she can counterattack against this guy and drop Saleh here. So we want to rescue him with somebody else first, which is probably going to be Cormag. I want to double check. Yeah, so Cormag kills this guy. Silverlance. Actually, let's make sure, yeah. He has the Excalibur equipped. So like I said, Cyrene is going to go here, drop here, so we're going to put Cormag right there. Alright. And then we can have Tana be the one to drop off Tethys. We're also going to have Noel come up here and summon a Phantom, and the Phantom is going to come across the mountain and then be bait in an upcoming turn. Not so much this turn, actually. Meanwhile, Artur is going to basically just come over here and be use the physics staff. Actually, I just realized this isn't necessarily a big deal, or at least I don't know if it's a big deal yet or not. I had intended to have him hammer in the rescue staff. I don't need the rescue staff for the rest of the chapter, but I might need it next chapter. But I managed to forget to do that, so I guess I won't do that. So let's just have Joshua come up here. Ford is going to come rescue him. And go here. And then we're going to have Erica drop him there and then come back over here. So the Phantom needs to get out of the way. So put the Phantom there, I guess. Tana. Drop Tethys off. I just want to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, we can drop her back there where she can't get attacked. Erica is going to get, actually, maybe, what I've done before is had Erica get rescued from here, but it makes about as much sense for her to get rescued from up here, because it ends up being Ford who's doing that, so, like, maybe we'll just put her up here. Maybe I even should have had it be, like, had Ford end up further forward, but whatever, it doesn't really matter that much, I don't think. Alright. Yeah, steel sword. So useful. I've sold all my steel weapons. They really like going for Saleh. Yeah, that's who Archer is going to be healing, is Cormag. Ah. Okay. So let's see. Alright, yeah, we might as well do this with Dusel. He's coming up here anyway. Garrick. Right, that's it. So Garrick needs to. If Garrick wants to be able to be warped by Molder, he needs to stand exactly here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He doesn't necessarily need to be warped by Molder. He can be warped. Like, Saleh is about to get A staves, but, you know, it gives me some additional flexibility. So I am going to put in there and go ahead and just do that. Okay. So then what we want to do is take out this guy and these guys. Well, we don't necessarily need to actually take these guys out, but we don't want to at least wall them off from some of the more fragile characters. Seth, I believe, yeah, has a pretty easy time in them. I might as well, I mentioned, have Archer heal Cormag. And then Saleh is going to heal Cyrene. Most likely. Okay, so we want Cyrene to have a sword equipped because these guys use axes. Let's see, who's going to take this guy out? Actually, well, maybe somebody that we dance for. So Cormag does have an Axe Reaver. So maybe what we do... do that. This. Can potentially use Tana to take this guy out, but I would rather, as much as possible, save my flyers for transportation in case I need that. So for Erica and Molder. I mean, obviously I need at least one of them to go grab Mulder. I think the Phantom is not capable of killing this guy. Yeah, definitely not. We also need to make sure that they can't get to Tethys, so I think... Well, the other thing I can do actually is dance for Tana and still have her participate in rescue stuff. That seems reasonable. Actually, can the Phantom take this guy out? No. Ford's too far away. Ephraim is too far away. Yeah, I feel like normally this guy attacks somebody else and the positioning is a little bit different. I don't really know what changed. But I definitely want Saleh to use the staff because he needs to get that ranking. It does maybe a dance for him. I do definitely want to kill this thing as well. If I just sit here with Cyrene... Let's see, can Tana even... Yeah, she can. So, if I can... I should figure out the rescue situation, because if I can do it without Tana, then this is all fine. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Yeah, so I can do that. Let's see, from here... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Erica really wants to be rescued forward 2 spaces. Mulder wants to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So in order for Erica to be 2 spaces forward, where she can get. Yeah, that's actually going to be pretty tricky. Oh, I could use Erica to get the kill. And then I can drop Mulder. Yeah. Okay, I actually like that. So, I don't think I need the Excalibur now, because I don't care about killing any of these enemies, so I just equip the Shine. And who are we healing? It's Cyrene. We can... I guess I'll just keep Erica back here to be safe. I was thinking about moving her another couple spaces up, but wouldn't really accomplish anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I guess I didn't say why I was counting out 8 spaces, but it's because Saleh has 16 magic. Okay, so... Now, we should be able to... Vanessa, rescue, Mulder. We need him to be, as I said here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, we can... So we can move Mulder around and have him be rescued by, like, yeah, Ford. And then Vanessa can drop in that way. I don't think he'll be able to heal anyone. Nobody back here is injured. Actually, no, he couldn't have healed Cyrene, so that's fine. Alright. Which means Tana is free to come up here, attack this thing. Cyrene can come get this guy. Ugh. Yeah, okay, that guy can't reach. Alright, as much as possible, we'd like to lure these guys with Phantom, so let's put the Phantom there. Yeah, the rest of this doesn't matter too much. Joshua is going to go up here and hope to maybe like hit something on next turn before the chapter ends. I guess we can facilitate that a little bit with more rescuing. Hey, good job, Phantom. Oh, that guy. Alright, so we have to take out this guy here, because he's sitting on our spot where we're trying to warp Garrick. Actually, he's also sitting where we would potentially warp Erica. Well, or rather, we'd have to attack him from where we'd be warping Erica, so that's pretty annoying. Alright, so Cyrene can take him out, but it's not safe. So how do we heal Cyrene? That's actually kind of a problem. Do we need to dance? Actually, we don't need to dance for Saleh or Mulder. When Mulder comes up here, does his thing, somebody trades for the staff, Saleh trades for the staff, so we can actually just do it with Saleh. Unfortunately, this is a little out of order for Saleh to do the trading himself. I guess that's okay. Wait, if Mulder here, Tethys here, trade, dance, yeah, okay. So we'll do this. Yeah, this guy doesn't always go to this spot. I'm not sure what exactly causes him to do so or not do so, but... Alright. Here we go with my lame edit to allow Garrick to survive. Feels bad, man. So now we trade, warp, dance for Saleh. He trades for the warp. That's Erica across. and we see whether we want to do anything else before the chapter ends. Like, specifically killing something with Joshua, although it really doesn't look like Aldholma is going to be a thing. Really does not. Can't even double. Come on, Joshua. Alright, you can double this guy. Hey, cool. I think also... Yeah, it's not. I think also Tana doesn't have A rank yet. No, she's actually kind of close. So, let's see. Sword Slayer... Actually, wait, where's Archer? So for, we'll just this. I don't know if training Archer stats Frank is going to be useful, but yeah, almost certainly not. But I also don't, there's no downside to doing it. Cormac doesn't have, I mean, I guess getting Cormac to S would also be useful. Not that that's gonna happen, but you know, whatever. So the thing, yeah, well, Seth definitely doesn't need anything. Ephraim doesn't care, he's already got his weapon. Franz obviously doesn't care. Ines doesn't care. Ford doesn't matter. Yeah, alright, so that's sort of chapter 20 in 3 turns. Oh, I guess this is one of those go right into it chapters. And complete with a flashback. Cool. Well, let's check it out. It's Leon! Again, yay! And he's still really slow, but has a ton of HP and a ton of defense. That looks like it's going to be really hard. Also, there's like a million Gorgons around him. That's pretty scary. Well... Ooh. Luckily, those guys can't move very far, but... Yeah, this looks pretty intense. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced I did the right thing, but it's just trying to do that with Dusel is gonna make me so sad and frustrated that I think it would have resulted in a worse episode. And I think it's at least interesting to see what the strategy is, even if, you know, even if I didn't actually set myself up to be able to do it, like, correctly, you know, you can see what the approach was, or would have been had I done so, had I given Garrick an angelic robe specifically. So I hope you enjoyed the episode in spite of that. And like I said before, let me know if you have any thoughts on what my next Let's Play should be. And I'll see you next time for the final chapter. Until then.